What up, everybody? It's your boy K-Ray06 back here on K-RayTV, and we're here to discuss episode 16 of All-American Season 3. As always, I'm going to go through the episode giving you my opinion of it all, and afterwards, I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful. Before we do, hit the like on the video if you like the content, or if you just like the support. It goes a long way. Also, it really does help. It really does help. And if you're new here, if you want to join the best squad on the net, as we're on our way to that 10K, then show some love by hitting that sub, click the noti bell, hit all, and share like you care. Again, it does go a long way, and I truly appreciate it. Now, let's hop into the review. Episode 16, titled No Opp Left Behind, starts off giving you a montage of a few events. Spencer and Crenshaw as the games is being played and they make it to the final or the ship. And Spencer training Jordan, continue to get my boy right. And Coop looking at the GED, and then a glimpse of homecoming future with Simone practicing on the tennis court. And preach. Pushing what is supposed to be his child on the swings. You know what grinds my gears? You know what? Just hold that thought. We'll address that later. We get a quick conversation with Spencer and Jordan tells Spencer that he has been cleared to play football again, but he has been having some doubts. But Spencer lets him know that, he'll get him there, and he don't want to be hearing no excuses, when he beat them in the finals. And then they switch the topic and talks about Spencer going into Toledo State, or possibly going into Toledo State with a scholarship, and leaving his mom and brother in Crenshaw. But Jordan is like, you still got the Baker, still got him, Dylan got Grace, and he got Coop. Spencer is like, him and Coop is not cool anymore. This sets up the conversation where Jordan lets Spencer know to he needs to fix that relationship, not to leave on bad blood. Do not go off to another state and then you still ain't even squash what you got here. So, something pretty much everyone else has pretty much said thus far, but it takes Spencer a while for things to click. So then we get the All-American logo that pops up to the screen and we open the show. The next scene, I was not here for it at all. Now, Preach was introduced as a smart person with both hood and book knowledge. Now, I'm confused as to why some random girl can pop up saying, give my daddy and Preach just, he just hit us with the life, I the pappy. And you ain't once got a DNA test. She just popped up, say you are daddy, and that didn't register, not a now, nutter. But you over there pushing this child on the swing set and watching her duck calls from Mo. Out of all people, come on, bruh. The child don't even look like now one of y'all. But, I guess. Preach is planning on taking care of the kid that's not even his. And and he ain't letting no one take her away from him. Dumb. The spirit of dumb. Who co-signed this? Who said it was okay to put this in the episode, or period, or put this in the atmosphere of life, or who did that? Because we need to have a talk. Next scene, we get Jordan, who's anxious to get back on the team, but Montez is not hearing it. She requests that Jordan helps the team get to the playoff instead of him playing, because he's going to be benched this game, because his concern is that, they may not make it to the playoffs, which, that'll be their last game and Jordan won't get to play. However, she's still nah, go help your teammates, help us win, and then, we'll think about the next one. Next scene, we get Coop, Patience, and Spencer as they run into each other at Crenshaw High. And I love Patience as a character because she reads the room, and she makes her comments known about how awkward the situation is between Coop and Spencer. She like then heads off to turn in her homework, which leads Coop and Spencer to talk. You can tell that they're tiptoe around each other, asking little basic questions. However, Coop starts talking about Spencer, going off to Toledo, and you start to get the sense of the old days, of the season 1 and 2 days, and how much they want and need each other. And like Spencer immediately starts opening up, and you can even see like the little smile on his face and everything as he just like decompressing. And Coop falls right into place and offers him the advice he needed. Like, the only thing I didn't like from this scene was that the patient came back too soon. Like, I'm like, give them just a few more minutes and they would have talked about what they doing, like, yo, what's going on? And actually, look to reconcile. And this would have been all they needed to squash that little fake beat. They would have got into a real conversation, because they would have, one of them would have been like, why are we here? Like, what's going on? But however, they need to set up this friendsgiving, so all that was halted and the conversation ended. Next scene, we get Asher and JJ, and this scene was just used to let us know that Montez's husband is the defensive coordinator at Coastal California. Like, this is the same place that Asher wants to go to, so there's that. Like, that's it. That's it. Next thing, we get the initial setup for the pilot as Jordan meets up with Simone at her tennis practice, and she says that she didn't get into Princeton and now she don't know what to do because she doesn't have no backup. And because being a teenager is so stressful, Jordan suggests they take a break to get away from it all. And this one, Simone brings up that her Aunt Amara wants her to come out for a homecoming weekend at Brinkston. And like, I don't know, it just seemed like this scene wasn't subtle at all. Like, it just seemed like they were like pointing at me like, hey, this is a pilot for the new show. Like, we talking about it here. Like, look at me. Like, maybe because I knew about it beforehand that it made me feel like they was like, look at me, but it could just be me. It could just be me. Like, let me know if y'all got that same feel or not, all right? Next, we get Ashley coming into Montez's office, going off because he wasn't told about her husband and where he plays at now. He trusted the coach and she should have let him know. And Montez lit him up saying, like, she don't owe him anything. She ain't got to give you no special seat to her husband. Like the only reason you playing football is because she allowed you to play. So if he wants something, he has to earn it. And knock before you enter, Bob. Like, knock before you enter. And I was sitting there like, how many times are we going to go down this Asher rabbit hole? Like, he do this every time. Like, he do the same thing every time. He gets mad or upset and then does something stupid. Like, something dumb. And then, like, at the end of the episode, he always, the light bulb come on or somebody come rescue him. And, like, I'm like, find this man a new storyline, or please find him somewhere to sit away from my screen, because it's wasted minutes and it's wasted talent having him still not mature and develop as a character. Like, figure out what y'all want to do with him and then do something. Like, or else, like, just keep him away from me. That's just how it is. We learn in the next scene that Coop is going back on tour, as one of the Vegas promoters want her to perform like down the strip and everything, and Layla can't be there because the finals falling on the same time. So that leaves Preach to pick up the mantle, but since Pappy Preach now has this supposed daughter, he has something in Crenshaw holding him back there, which he hasn't told anyone about, and this may interfere with him going on tour with Coop, which, might give Mo the opportunity she need. Taking pop, but like, all this is dumb, yo, but I'm gonna save some of that butane for later. Next scene, at the Bakers, we get Billy and Laura confronting Jordan because they found a wedding invitation. And Jordan, at this point, still hasn't told them that Simone's parents is planning a big old wedding for him. And because of this, they question him, and Jordan puts his foot down and said, like, yo, the wedding is happening. Like, he would love for his parents to be there. However, he loves Simone, and he's already lost football, so he's not going to lose his wife. And I actually wasn't mad at it. I was not mad at it because sometimes you can't hold a person's hand through everything. Like Jordan wants to make a grown decision, so let him do it. Next scene, we get Lifetime Carrie coming in to pick up Layla, and again she's giving that same vibe. Like she ignores everyone there only to speak to Layla, which Coop lets her know, like, hello, we here too. And then Friendsgiving was brought up as Layla's hosting it. And then Carrie immediately brings up Spencer, like, oh, don't that mean your ex gonna be there? To try to discredit the idea. And then Coop was like, Spencer's pretty much all our exes, which is a lie. And that they will stick together, which is another lie. And then Carrie used double parking as a way to leave and try to get Layla to leave with her. However, Layla stayed behind and laughing Kiki with her friends. And Carrie just watching in the doorway looking all like Lifetime Movie Network upset. And I'm like, yo, if we don't see Layla tied up in a remote place in the basement before the season ends, like, I will be shocked. I will be shocked because she wants Layla to herself and herself only. Next, we get Simone and Liv drinking coffee, and we get the line from the trailer when she's like, Friendsgiving sound like a good old time with a big bag of popcorn, with everyone not liking each other and having these internal issues. I was here for it. She said what I wanted to say. So I'm like, yo, if we're going to use the theme of friends to actually get conversation started and get these people out these dusty storylines and, to the truth, then I'm here for it, Next scene. This one was funny. Like, Grace is going to Crenshaw as Grace has to run some errands, and Dylan, he has one of those days, when he doesn't have to go to school. So he's like, why am I skipping school to come up to another school? Like, he don't want to be there. But the main point is when Carter came with a bottle of wine for Grace as she, heading another project. She won another projects, and she did so good on the last one. And Dylan immediately says, like, no one drinks wine in our house or whatever it is. And I'm like, bruh. But Grace's rebuttal game was fire. She said, he don't know what I drink after he go to bed. Like, I was like, Grace. And then she lets Carter know she can't drink the bottle by herself and invites him over for drinks and her famous peach cobbler. Like, not only is she invited for drinks, she over there cooking for the man. Like, well, we must have missed a lot in a little time skip. Dylan don't like it. However, Carter agrees. So they end up leaving. And then we jump over to the scene that I was not here for again. Mo and Preach. Mo walks in and Preach lets her know that they need to talk and reveals that he knows about, his daughter, and, her daughter was somewhere behind him and she stepped out somewhere, like, guess who? Like this scene seemed very scripted. And by scripted, I mean from Mo and that little girl. Like, you can tell if you pay attention how she looks up as Preacher's talking that something is up. Like, something in the air. I'm picking up the vibe. And then when she asks if they're fighting over him, Preacher's like, nah, we good, right? And Mo says, all good. Mo gives the little girl a wink, like, and we all know this is a ploy. Yet Preach dumb self is the only one not picking up what she's putting down. And again, I'm like, Dana, aka, DNA test will do the trick. Like, instead of sneaking around with her to play and push her on some dang swing sets, won't you sneak your way to a clinic, a lab, or something, hell, even a Maury show to get the test results? Because we all know you are not the father. You are not the pappy. But I digress. All the while, Spencer's up there picking up some sandwiches, and he was just looking at the whole thing, but he didn't say nothing. He kept that in until we jumped to the next scene as he arrived there with Liv, and he started telling her the tea. But before he gets, fully into it, he's interrupted by Layla, and it's awkward. Like, you can tell this is the first time they've seen each other, and Layla trying to play nice, and she's seeing, Liv and Spencer walking together, so she automatically assuming something. So she says nothing, takes the sandwiches, and then they went into the area where everyone else was. Then Patience decides to give a speech. She know that the friend group has issues, so she wants better for them. She wants them to each say something they're grateful for within the friend group, and she gets it over to the group. And y'all, this whole scene was a shake my head moment. Like, Jordan starts off with a real genuine speech, thanking Spencer for having his back throughout his recovery process and for having a big heart. Then Coop, hearing that, decides to try to match that energy and thanks Patience and Layla for always holding her down and having her back and staying on her about her music. Dumb. Like, like that was only out of the spirit of petty and pride that her toast was even remotely like that. Like, I was already starting to feel some type of way about it. Then Carrie thanks Layla about her unwavering friendship. And then Olivia Mashonda Baker, shout out Naomi Beauty for that name, says, I third that. You know, when it comes down to it, Layla always comes through. Comes through where? Please, someone in the comments, tell me where did Layla come through, or always comes through. And don't y'all dare bring up that dusty speech like I'm tired of Liv begging for Layla acceptance and her friendship. Like, the girl didn't come through when you was digging in the trash can, did she not? The girl didn't come through when you gave her your little pen, you was screaming for help. The girl didn't even know how serious it was when you was initially taking pills and relapse. The girl didn't even come throughout it all because she came afterwards. And it's crazy because Layla even looked awkward after the toast. And she was like, oh, girl, no, I don't come through at all. Like, stop. And then Layla goes on to thank her friends, even some of those, you know, who haven't known each other the same amount of time. But she said it feels like they've been friends forever. Girl. She basically invalidated Liv's BFF claims right there. Like, the people you haven't known as much are on the same scale as Liv, the person that you know is your BFF and y'all done known each other for a long time and y'all even kind of paid her. Like, true friendship. Like, bruh, let her go. Like, Liv, the writers, NK, let it go. Because we tired. Simone then tells them that, you know, they redefined family for her and she loves them all for that. That's a genuine one. And then it seems like everyone is waiting on Spencer to give a speech, especially Coop. She just eyeballing. And then he pretty much says, like, no matter where they are with each other, whether good or bad, they're still family. And Patience reading the room ends on that note and concludes the toast and say, let's have a good time. And then my boy Jordan drinks his apple cider and then gets his groove on it. He was living his best life. But the takeaway from here is, like, Jordan, Spencer, and Simone had a real toast, while Coop toast was petty. It was just in response to Jordan saying that Spencer had his back the entire time. Liv was begging for acceptance, and then Layla would just be dismissive, like, that wasn't no real speech, that wasn't no real toast. Like, I thought this was going to set the tone for the rest of the episode, but it didn't. It did not. But let's put a pin in that for now and talk about this mac and cheese. Like, man, when I seen it, I said, who did this? And when Jordan said it was Miss Grace, I lost it. Like, I was like, Mama Grace, if you made that dish, you getting all the smoke from me. Everything. Like just like that mac and cheese can go, so can you. That tired wig can go. All them flowered dresses can go. Your potential booty call can go. Your whole life's work can go. Everything. But before I went in, Spencer let Jordan know that dang his mama mac and cheese. So I was like, I had to dial it back. I was like, my bad, Grace. My bad, Mama Grace. Jumped out on the bag on you, Before long, Carrie comes along and she says she made the mac and cheese. And I was like, oh, makes sense. Jordan dismisses himself by saying, yo, he got a game tomorrow, so he should eat light. And he took a sandwich and bounce. And then Spencer like, hey, I'm also an athlete. he bounces, which leaves Coop as the last person standing, a lifetime carrying her mac and cheese. And I was cracking up. That's probably one of the best highlights of the episode. Like, that moment right there. Because that was hilarious. Next, we get a scene with Spencer, Jordan, Liv, and Simone, and I see someone call them the Core Four. Like, when did they become the Core Four? Like, let me know, because I thought Spencer, Olivia was a core, and then Spencer, Olivia, Coop, and Jordan, and maybe a switch out with Layla is the core. But when did Simone get that title? Like, y'all just be giving titles away. Like, come on now, come on. But I digress. This was the other connecting point to Homecoming, as they invite Spencer and Liv to tag along with them to Brinkston. Simone mentioned her aunt is big into activism, and I was about to go off like we doing this again, but I was like, you know what? I'm not even. Growth. And as they all laugh and talk, you see Coop peering out the window, and Patient comes up and let her know, like, yo, it's time to squash the beef with Spencer. Like, the ball is now in your court. Like, stop all this dragging around. Stop avoiding him and everything. Like, end the beef. Get over it. We get a quick moment with Laura and Billy as they discuss Jordan being married, and Billy says, I can't lose Jordan. And I was like, you know what? Growth out the window. Like, you and Laura deserve each other, because y'all said the same line. Like, she was like, I can't lose Liv. And he was like, I can't lose Jordan. Like, lose him where? Like, at the grocery store? At the park or something? Chasing balloons? Like, bruh. Like, y'all relationship ain't even close like that. Like, he ain't going nowhere. Like, just like Liv ain't going nowhere. Like, they both at the house still getting their little allowance. Like, I thought this scene was going to be where Billy going to be like, you know, let him do it. He wants to be grown and want to make those decisions. Then let him learn. You know, but I digress. Y'all want to go a whole different route doing this nonsense, trying to compare your marriage to y'all. Like, Billy, you stroke grace. Like, Jordan ain't doing... We jump back over to the Friendsgiving, and we get an awkward conversation with Liv and Layla. And again, Liv is overpraising Layla, and Layla acting like she just wasn't at Layla's house the other day, you know, chumming up, eating on canapes and stuff and cheese puffs. Like now you can't have a real conversation with her. Like, now that Liv don't need nothing, the elephant is back in the dang room. Like, and I'm over it. Like, why are they tiptoeing and... like, if y'all don't want to be friends, like, stay with Lifetime Carrie, and, like, Mashonda need to... I'm over it. I'm over it, y'all. I'm over it. Next, we finally get Coop and Spencer talking as they meet up by the bathroom, and Coop lets them know that he has nothing to worry about. She'll be there for the family, and that he needs to go visit the schools that, as he owes that to himself. And again, you know, something people have been saying to him all day. Spencer said he misses her advice, and she says good, because that's the best apology you're gonna get. And I was like, that's it? Like, y'all not going to even discuss what happened? Like, nothing? No apology? Anywhere? No? Oh, okay, I guess y'all just friends then, huh? You know, to make matters worse, the hug they gave didn't even seem genuine. I'm like, even your hug seemed fake. Like, come on. Like, who sanctioned this? Like, why we at Friendsgiving? Like, why is the whole thing about them making up? If y'all going to just give us 2 seconds for them to make up. Then Spencer, all giddy because of that, just hops his little raggedy self along and goes to Layla. And, like, the conversation they had is a conversation I thought Coop and Spencer was going to have. Like, they gave more emphasis into that than they gave with Coop and Spencer. Like, we watched, I don't know how many episodes we seen the same face Coop and them just avoiding each other, and Spencer looking like he crying and everybody doing all this dumb stuff just to get a non-apology for y'all to be friends again. But then here, y'all gonna give us a merit by having him going to Layla and try to apologize for him doing her dirty. I don't get it, y'all. Make it make sense. You know, Layla says she doesn't hate Spencer. She just needs time before they can be friends again. And she acknowledges that, yeah, just like Jordan said, you have a big heart, but that same heart is what gets you in trouble. And I respected her for saying that. Like, even though you hosted the party and you knew he was coming, you know, you knew he was going to be there, I think she thought she would be cool with it all. But seeing him and then seeing him with Liv, I think was a little bit too much for her. So I'm not going to apply heat for her for that. I feel like she's validated for everything she feels and said. But I wouldn't invite him. Like, that would have been me. Like, I wouldn't have been hosting either. So, whatever. Next, we get some football jargon with everyone having like some little jitters and everything before the game. And Jordan goes around and he's like trying to better his teammate. Like, he tries to help Asher get himself and, get his head into the game and offer Coach Montez and anything else that's holding him back. And then he also tries to help JJ find his confidence. But this does not translate on the field as the first half. It's just like the Crenshaw game. They got destroyed. I'm talking about destroying. Which leads Jordan to, get back on JJ and let him know, like, yo, stop trying to play like me. Like, play like yourself. Play like JJ. And if you did that, you will be fine. Montez also gets into Asher saying the same thing. Like, Asher, you need to get out your own way. Otherwise, all this would have been for nothing. And then we have like a quick scene with like Liv and Spencer talking about what happened at the friendsgiving. And that girl said, check this out. This year, they stand out of other people's business and focusing on their own. But that same episode, she showed up at Layla's house. Come on. Like, girl, bye. Back at the game, Beverly has now fought their way back, to get their old win, having the same score as the Crenshaw game, with being 27-21. And I'm like, yo, like, they just got the same comebacks finish. It was like the same game, just spray painted with Beverly. So now we get, Beverly versus Crenshaw for the championship, which everyone predicted. And because of this, Asher gets some special treatment because now he gets to meet Montez's husband because she said he's earned it. Liv shows up to Layla's house only to be dismissed by Carrie. And then Grace has her date with Carter. And Dylan was hating the entire time, which leads Carter to Liv, not before giving Grace a kiss. And then, Grace questions Dylan's behavior. But, Dylan was just being an overprotective son. And she recognized that and handled that with love and care. Plus, when he told Carter, like, he been trying not to laugh the whole night as he failed and tried to rule his mom the whole night, that was hilarious. Also, it was funny. It was very funny, though, because, like, Grace is old school. And I've been around some old schools. And I was like, why he at the table? Like, Grace would have sent him away. Soon Carter came through. So you telling me she invited him in. They done popped some champagne. She done brought out the cobbler. They eating and kikiing. And he just sitting the whole time there. Like, nah, that wouldn't have happened. Nah, that would not have happened. Now, I can see if he was coming to and fro to try to be in there. But even then, he would have got sit up in that room. So, y'all try to play Grace with that because she wouldn't have did all that. She would have sent that boy away. And he was sitting at the table reading no dang comics. Come on. Next scene, as Laura gives Jordan her approval to marry Simone and lets him know that, marriage is hard work. So he should make sure that she is the one because he can't run away from the issue. And from that line, I was like, oh, snap. Kind of seemed like this marriage is not going to go through. Like, it seemed like somebody may back out. So episode 18 needs to go ahead and come on so we can see how this plays out. Finishing up the show, Spencer comes home and we get a knock on the door. Coop comes by and she lets him know that it's only one person that she wants to risk her life with. As she told Spencer earlier that she was going skydiving with Patience, but that was a lie. She kept the tickets to go with Spencer. And then they hug, and I'm like, yo, now this was a real hug compared to that first little dusty knockoff thing they tried to give us. Like, I'm like, this is a real hug. This is a genuine one. I'm like, okay, cool. Then we jump back over to Beverly, and Jordan asks Montez to put him back in the game as he helped JJ get right. But now, because of that, she is questioning if she would put him in, as JJ had a strong showing. And Spencer and Billy know how Jordan plays, so it'll be unwise to put Jordan in there if they expect to win. And then the show ends with Jordan watching JJ celebrate the win, and that's it. Overall, the episode really didn't do it for me. I thought it was going to be like the cabin episode. However, it was split between JJ and Asher rather the promoted Friendsgiving. But I feel like there was a lot of wasted opportunities there. But before we talk about that, let's get into the good, the bad, and the downright disrespectful. The good. Patience. She is back and she is not playing any games. Patience out of any character has not done anything wrong within the friend group. She always tells it like it is. She reads the room and she keeps it 100 every time. Whoever writes for her, continue to do for her, because she has remained consistent throughout the entire season, through every season, and I love it. Plus, she got that new glow. I just had a baby mama glow, you know what I'm saying? So, I feel it. I'm feeling it. Give her more scenes. Give her more lines. Give her some stories. I'm team patient right now, And while I didn't like how it was handled, Coop and Spencer making up was past due. So, I'm glad they are back, because I did miss that. I missed their friendship. I missed the way they talk to each other, and you got to hear the inner thoughts between the two. I missed that. So I wasn't mad at that. But how they got together? Nah. The bad. The missed opportunities for Friendsgiving. No one talked about any real issues and nothing was handled. We spent 2 seconds at the event and more time running around with Asher and JJ. I get it. They were not invited, but the show promoted this Friendsgiving, yet we barely spent any time there. This could have been the cabin episode where people got to the core of the issues with one another. Yet again, we gloss over the real stuff and instead give us Hollywood comeback and football games instead. The downright disrespectful. This episode, it was a no for me. It was a no from the highest order. Everything in it was preach, grinded my gears as to how this man was easily fooled by a child who don't look like no one in his family tree. Where's all them books you read? Because common sense was lost somewhere in between pressing shirts and hats and avoiding calls. Make it make sense. Then Liv begging this entire episode for Layla's attention and approval. This girl would rather be a Lifetime special than to be your friend, Liv. She listens and values everyone else who isn't you. So why are you begging? Olivia, find another friend. It's simple as that. It's simple as that. Then the Coop and Spencer, not talking about their issues. So you tell me we went all these episodes sitting on these looks, people helping each other, people not helping each other. Spencer looking like he want to cry every 2 seconds, same face. Coop over there talking about she lost Sean and Spencer and her not cool anymore. All of that just to get this simple advice that people already gave to Spencer for that whole Dusty storyline, that fake mystery meet of beef to be over. Bruh. Ashy for being ashy, then always getting rewarded for it. Jordan gets told no, but Ashy gets a meeting with her husband. Didn't you help improve and change Jordan's game throughout this whole season? So explain why Jordan can't play, especially with JJ being backup QB. Also, have you ever heard of game tapes? They do exist, right? Crenshaw could easily watch the game tape and see how JJ play and put together a strategy. Come on. This episode is on my list, y'all. And I'm going to stop now before this turns into a 3-part series, all right? So let me know how y'all feel about this episode and whether if it was rather a hit or miss for you. And who made your list in the comments below. If you enjoyed this episode, put a smiling emoji. If you did not enjoy this episode, put a laughing emoji. And if you thought it was okay, put a winking emoji. Let's see who watches. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed the review. I look forward to the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you next time. All right, peace.